Hi guys, my name is Noah, and I'm from an organization called DAO0. So basically today we're going to talk about the high level of how we're running this pilot program of the decentralized ID in Taiwan, and why there is a decentralized ID program in Taiwan. And follow-up, Yuren will be talking about the technical side, so that's something to look forward to as well. So why a decentralized ID under a national context? Our assumption, our belief is basically that we identify the key features of the IDs as control, privacy, and interoperability. And under a national context, we believe that maximizing those features, those specific areas, improves the relationship and the participation between the government and the citizenship. So that's what we're looking for and looking to build in terms of our strategy and our experiments. So just to give people here a couple of contexts in Taiwan. The first context is basically on the left side. So there is the darker side and there is the brighter side. On the darker side, basically in Taiwan, there is a possibility for a potential war, right? So, and if a war happens, if it happens, well, I'm not trying to get political here, but if it happens, then it's probably not a war that we're going to win. So the mentality in Taiwan is very straightforward, that how do we survive, how do we regroup, how do we rebuild, how do we build that resilience if something bad really happens. And on the other side, on the brighter side, the context of Taiwan is that Taiwan has a very vibrant, very active deliberation process in terms of how the citizens get involved in policy making, get involved in talking to the government, get involved in how the direction of the nation should be going. So we also, we think DIDs has their roles on these two perspectives. So on one side, of course, on the darker side, is of course to build resilience. If something bad happens, if our centralized identity servers gets controlled, gets destroyed, or gets manipulated, then how might we still be able to prove our identities outside of Taiwan? How do we still be able to voice our opinions? How do we still be able to even vote online with a certain level of privacy? That's, I think, of course, is what people are talking about here. On the other side, because the identity part being the very basic atomic unit of our society, how do we make sure those are not AI, are not bots, are real person, real citizens, and then we can build on top quadratic funding, quadratic voting, collusion resistance, all kinds of social democratic experiments that we think can move the society forward. So it's twofold. On one extreme, we're preparing for hardship, we're preparing for crisis. On the other extreme, we're basically trying to say, hey, let's use Taiwan as a field of experimentation, and then we can build all these different experiments that would showcase how a democratic society in the future can look like. So I'll give you two examples of the resilience part and the social experiment part. On the left side, we are proposing this project called DReact. So if you think about if we want to propose or if we want to promote decentralized IDs to the general public, that would be very difficult, right? A couple of different entities did try in Taiwan, saying that you can get more control, you can get more privacy, but people living in relatively peaceful societies, they don't convert based on that value proposition, right? I think people who would be interested in convert are sitting here right now already. And if we talk about interoperability, there's just simply, in the real world, there's simply not enough network effects that builds convincing use cases at this point. So our strategy and our thinking about how we can push decentrality forward is, on one side, is if a crisis or if a war or if something bad happens, then how might we very quickly translate the current identity formats into decentralized formats to infuse this kind of resilience into our society, into the identity systems. So when crisis happen, people's identity can have resilience. They can still verify themselves. They can still say what they want to say. They can still vote online without too much pressure on the other side. And on the other end, because like I said, Taiwan has a very long history of deliberation, right? Policy deliberation. So how might we use AI-powered deliberation tools? So this is AI-powered deliberation tools that we basically cluster all these different opinions in different areas and use a reiterative process that to ask more questions to get authentic opinions of a specific person, and then making sure they are grouped in a certain way that so we will understand the whole picture, right? But how do we know those opinions are actually from real citizens, not AIs, not bots, and not bad-intentioned actors that's trying to infiltrate the system? So these are the kind of things that we're experimenting and we're trying to do in Taiwan. So my introduction is short, but I'll give it to Yuren to basically talk about the technical part, and he's probably going to share this link again. But if you want to know the progress of how Taiwan is building DIDs, please do follow us on Twitter, and I'll give it to Yuren right now.